What is going on, players, and welcome back to the Director of Football Journeyman with me, FoggyPlays, on FM21. Today we're taking on Stuttgart in the Bundesliga. We're going to have a little look around the world and see how the Premier League, basically the top five nations, are getting on league-wise. Is there any surprising teams in the top divisions, and any surprising champions, I guess, would be another one that we'll have a look at. And in tomorrow's episode, we are going to be taking on Valencia in the Champions League final. So if you do want to enjoy this, please do make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It makes a massive difference, and YouTube really loves when you do that. So as I said, we're taking on Stuttgart in today's game. Doesn't really mean anything. As I said in the intro, we have guaranteed ourselves third, can't finish any higher, can't finish any lower. Bayern Munich have guaranteed second, and Hertha already league champions. So we're going to be playing a slightly rotated side for today's game because, like I said, we don't have anything to play for. We do have a couple of injuries and suspensions that need talking about. Edmundo suspended for today's game. João Felipe still injured. Abdel Latif is back from his injury, but not enough to be able to play today, which is less than ideal. Bojangles is back from an injury, which I forgot to show you. We played the game against Bayern Munich and we won, but Bojangles came into the game having just recovered from an injury. 38 minutes into the game, had to go off again, picked up another one. Said it was a red injury, wasn't. It really wasn't. It was like a bruised shin or something. It was a 2-day injury. Hillenbrand also picked up an injury in that game. Again, another like 2-day injury, so it wasn't anything to be overly worried about. Eigler picked up a knock in that game. It was basically a very dirty game. But we did the business, ended up scoring in the 84th minute, so Eigler wins the game for us. But we have had the German Footballer of the Year announced. It is Arnaud Leduc, for Bayern Munich, the ex-Monaco striker. Frank Eigler got himself second, which I'm a little bit disappointed by. I thought he could have done more, but what can you do? Scored 30 goals this year. But in the under-17s player of the year, our goalkeeper, who's out on loan at Jan Regensburg, managed to pick up the under-17s player of the year, having played 7 times. Nobody cares about the guy in second, but Jan Durkes gets third. This guy looks amazing. Absolutely fantastic. For the under-19s in non-competitive games, played 44 games, scored 11 goals from centre-back. In the European under-19s for Germany, played once, and for the under-20 elites, he's played 5 times. The guy is already capped at under-20 level. He is a future star, and he is our player. But for today's game, we're starting with, like I said, rotated side. Monastori is starting in goal. He's only had 2 games this year. He's played twice for us this season, so I kind of give him a chance in the game. Might as well. Nogueira and Coops as our wing backs. Coops, just because Coops, might as well play him because he's really good. Munoz and Favre-Berthier. Favre-Berthier actually still not happy that we didn't loan him out, even though he's played a lot of games this year. Still disappointed that he hasn't been allowed to leave the club. Kulikov and Sekerovic are starting as our central midfield. Fendel, Hillenbrand and Orlando starting as our wide men, with Eigler up front. Bojangles is going to sit on the bench for today's game because I don't want to risk him. Because I would like to have him for the final. Although in saying that, Orlando was quite good in the game against Spurs, so maybe I should be starting Orlando. But Orlando, not our player. Bojangles is, so we're going to do that. Edgar for Stuttgart, definitely a player I'm worried about because he is quite good, as is Ali Akman. He's a decent player as well, so we need to be wary of those two. Other than that, there's not anybody. Julian Road has been quite good this year. But we are going to just pump our fists and say, go out there and impress me. We're going to point our finger and say, make a difference. Yeah, just everyone, make a difference. Monastori definitely has to be a little bit disappointed, because when João Felipe picked up his injury, probably would have thought this is definitely the opportunity for me to step in and potentially become first choice goalkeeper, and it didn't happen that way. Sasha Ulrich, because he is our Champions League goalkeeper as well, just kind of stepped in, played all the games, and we didn't really have to worry about our goalkeeper because we know Sasha Ulrich is quite good. Manastori hasn't had, to be fair, I've been a little bit mean to him. He's not really had a huge amount of opportunities, with the fact that he's only played 2 games. He's not really been given the chance to play. And we have played, you know, if you've been around for long enough, you've seen during our time at Bayer, we do give goalkeepers plenty of opportunity. Like Cervenka got a lot of games as well before he left for Mainz. Ali Akman, as I said, quite a good player. Definitely one we needed to be wary of. And Farvara Berthier just didn't really track his run. And Ali Akman finds a way to score a goal against us. So we are not happy. To be fair, it is, like I said, rotated side. So I wouldn't expect to be on the top or on the front foot for the entire game, but we still should have enough about us. Glenn Coops is giving away a penalty. That is never a penalty. Never a penalty. That was a perfectly legitimate tackle. Yeah, see, no penalty. I knew it. So it's a goal kick to us instead. As it is at the bottom, Hamburg look like they're about to escape automatic relegation. I think we've just won a penalty. Eigler was being pushed. If given the opportunity, I am going to swap the penalty taker. No, I missed it. Didn't react fast enough. Eigler steps up to take the penalty just before half time. And this time he puts it away. Missed one against Spurs in the last episode. He scores his 31st goal of the season. We did have words before this game, and we've had words recently with Eigler a lot, actually. Constantly telling him that he's not playing good enough, because he did have an electric start to the season, and then fell off rather swiftly after January, which is obviously less than ideal, but the XG at the minute is 0.1 for Stuttgart, 1.2 for ourselves. And I'm going to say I'm not happy with that performance. To be fair, we've not really kind of controlled the game. Munoz is having an absolute mare of a day. Faith Findel, not having a good game. Orlando's not having a good game. It's one of those days at the minute. None of our players are playing all that well, but this is fine, I guess. Findel, another player who didn't get a huge amount of opportunities. Hillenbrand is true, and Hillenbrand hits the back of the net. Hillenbrand, at one point during the season, I was weary that he was going to not be as good as I was expecting him to be. He did, however, manage to buck up his ideas and started playing really rather well. We've scored 20 seconds into the second half to go 2-1 ahead against a team that we would definitely be expected to do the business against. Like, even though we are playing a rotated side, I would still think Stuttgart, they're playing triangles around us. And they're losing. Kulikov, beautiful dispossession of one of the Stuttgart players. Hillenbrand gets it across. I'm going to say that was a cross. It did look like it was an attempted chip of the keeper. Glenn Coops wins his header though. And Sekrovic is running forward. Finds Coops. Gets dispossessed by Edgar. And Hillenbrand, we've come out in the second half. Very much up for this game. I'm very surprised that they're playing Edgar kind of like as a winger. Because when he was it Firth he was playing for? He was their like main focal point of their attack. He was like the main striker for them. So to see that he's been put out on the wing, it's a little bit disappointing. It's the same with Rakagani at Bayern Munich, who for some reason they're playing him as a winger, even though he's scored tons of goals in France. Then went to PSV just after we left, and he played as a striker, scored lots and lots of goals for them, but then arrives in Germany and suddenly he's a winger. It's almost like Lelujo is in charge of this the Stuttgart side, with the way he's been just absolutely destroying his career. But not destroying. Lelujo doesn't destroy careers. He just changes players in ways that I suppose most people wouldn't think of changing players. Because he wouldn't be, I wouldn't say he's a good wide midfielder. He would probably be, like if he was playing for us, he'd be a striker. But then again, our strikers, not very good. None of them score all that often. Well, they don't have very good finishing. But Hillenbrand gets it down to Adiemi. Can't get his goal. Kulikov, straight at the keeper. And Jefferson Victor has come on in the place of Orlando because he was having a poor game. And Adiemi came on for Faith Fendel because he just wasn't having a good game. Munoz, speaking of the devil, or centre backs actually, both having poor games today. Adiemi quite easily dispossessed, wins the ball back though. Can't complain about. I was just about to say, can't complain about his contribution. And then he goes and does that. You do love to see it, don't you? You do love to see it. Monastory gets it forward. Jefferson Victor heads it on. Even though Victor's quite a short player, wins a header. That's what you like to see. It's back to Monastory now. Gets it forward to Favre Berthier. Munoz to Noguera. Gets it forward to Hillenbrand, who's on for his hat-trick. Sekrovic. Oh, he's gone into Jefferson Victor. Cuts inside, gets it to Hillenbrand, and it's blocked by one of the defenders. Stuttgart, hold on. And we are going to make a change just before this corner. Is there anyone on the bench I want to give an opportunity to that hasn't played a huge amount of football? Not really. Everyone on the bench is pretty much where you'd expect. We're going to bring on the Mandy Collins for Munoz, just because Munoz is booked and not playing well. And nothing comes from the corner, but now we have a highlight 3 minutes before the end. Well, 2 and a bit minutes before the end, with Stuttgart in control of the ball. Edgar running in straight at Monastory. That was the highlight? Really? And it looks like Hamburg have achieved relegation today. Yeah, happy with how you played, lads. Well done. Orlando, not so much. Orlando, Munoz, Fendel didn't play great. You didn't play all that well. So Carluche did lose to Borussia Mönchengladbach, but they were in the best situation to begin the game. Hertha smashed Dusseldorf, and Bayern Munich smashed Werder Bremen. So that's definitely a plus for them. Hanover did get beaten by Wolfsburg. Did have a player sent off in the 38th minute. It's not ideal. And Hamburg, that's what I was looking for, beaten by Hoffenheim. Leroy Sané, on loan from Barcelona, scores for Hoffenheim to relegate the Burgers. The Hamburgers are, quite unfortunately, going down. And that is not ideal for them, but it's not made any difference to us. Luca Net's a player that our director of football tried to sign. It's quite an expensive player, has to be said. We hammer Stuttgart. To be fair, we actually had more possession than them as well. That's not something we do very often. Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund are playing in the Pokal, so that means that someone else is going to be eligible to get that position in the. That'll be Borussia Mönchengladbach, I think. We just got almost 96 million for finishing third. And okay, it was just about how they didn't get a penalty because of VAR. So obviously we're happy with that. That's going to make a huge difference to the old bank balance. We did get our transfer budget after the Bayern Munich game because we were guaranteed third in the league. So we've got 48 million to spend on players and 1.8 million in wage budget. The wage budget's not changed at all, I don't think. I think it was 1.8 to begin with, but 48 million, it's pretty good. The fact we have 126 million and we have a Champions League final to come, it's going to make a huge difference to this number over here, I would imagine. But if everything goes according to plan, we'll be leaving Bayern Munich, or Bayer Leverkusen. Just have Bayern Munich on the brain. We'll be leaving Bayer Leverkusen after the game against Valencia. but we have to wait and see what happens with that. So the past winners are let's have a look, see how the Premier League's been getting on. So with one game remaining, Liverpool have won it. Palace are already relegated. It's a tight season at the bottom. So there is Sheffield United, Wolves, Norwich, Middlesbrough, Southampton, and West Ham can all get relegated on the final day. That is madness. So as it is, since the series started, Man City have won it twice, Liverpool have won it 3 times, and Man United have won it 4 times. So it's a nice little spread between 3 teams. All 3 teams then share the runner-up spot, but we've seen Chelsea and Spurs make it into 3rd place in recent seasons. Spurs, they'd be disappointed. They're only going to get 3rd this year as well. The top of the table is very split. Like the top 3 separated by 12 points. Just kind of from 4th down. It's not that far apart. It's quite an interesting time going on in England. In Spain, however, the title is still not decided. It could go to either Barcelona or Atletico Madrid. Either way, Valencia's reign of terror has ended, with them finishing 5th, potentially getting 4th if they get a result. But just looking over quickly, Sociedad play Huesca, who are already relegated. Valencia playing Villarreal. Yeah, not a terrible game for them either. Who has won it most? So Barcelona have pretty much dominated. Real Madrid winning it once, Valencia winning it for the last 2 seasons. Atletico Madrid have 3 second places, to be fair, and then they've had 3 third places. I'm surprised Atletico Madrid haven't done better. We've already had a look. We'll have a look at the Bundesliga. It's only we've looked at the previous winners. So Bayern Munich have pretty much dominated it. Dortmund have won it twice. Leipzig have won it once last year, and they did not have a great season this year. Borussia Dortmund are pretty much the 2nd best team in the league, and then 3rd place is just a hot mess. A hot mess. In Serie A, Milan are already crowned champions, but they still have 2 games left. Last year's winners, Lazio, are currently in 4th, but could finish 5th, or could also finish as high as 2nd. So this season has been interesting in Italy. Last year's runners-up are 7th. So Juventus won it for the first 2 seasons, then Inter won it for 2 seasons. Lazio, Juventus, Inter, Juventus, Lazio. So the Italian league is a bit of a mix-up, which is quite nice actually. Rome have been the bridesmaids for 2 of the last seasons. They'll be disappointed with that. The fact that they've not won, having been 2nd for 2 years in a row. Napoli getting in there, finishing 3rd 3 times in the league. Atalanta only having 1 top 3 finish. I'm surprised by that. Atalanta have a very strong squad at the start of this game. That is interesting. In France, the obvious, why even ask who's winning it? It's obviously PSG. They have smashed it again. They've won it every single season since the save started. But we've had teams like Monaco, Lyon, Nice, Angers. That was our year. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Angers finishing 2nd once is the only one that really broke up the monotony. And other than that, Nantes made it into 3rd. Angers have made it into 3rd since we've left. But it is pretty much just PSG, Monaco, and Lyon just kind of duking it out over who does what. I didn't actually check to see was there any interesting teams in the leagues. Any ones you wouldn't expect. Like Chelsea are struggling a little bit this year. You wouldn't expect that. Arsenal having an absolute mare of a season. But there's nobody in the Premier League that you go, I'm surprised they're there. Same with Spain. Tenerife, potentially. Maybe. In Serie A, Frosinone finishing 13th. That'd be a little bit interesting. Spezia 15th. They've had good teams over the years, so to be fair to them. Verona 18th. I'm surprised they're not a little bit higher. They have a very, very talented Spanish striker playing for them. It looks like it's not really helped them at all. Any interesting teams in Angers finishing are currently sitting in 12th. It's not great for them. I left them in fantastic position The next episode, we are going to come back and we are going to take on Valencia in our Champions League final. If you have enjoyed this episode, please do make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share with all your friends, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!